notice people. All right, so again, if you have or haven't been following the Zooms, the pivot point of the talks is this idea of non-duality, which is really understood by recognizing duality, yeah? Because you can't recognize that, which already is, because that is what's recognizing everything else. So we usually use a term by a famous master, Ramana Maharshi. He would be like the James Brown of non-duality. You know, he's like the godfather of non-duality. And we use a term by him, which is the presupposing of a non-existent thing, and then the presupposing of the non-existent thing is also assuming it's existing, really, and maybe it's its own source of existence. So, and then that non-existent thing, obviously running into difficulties, maybe reaches a point where it's trying to seek salvation for itself. Yeah, but the salvation for itself seems very noble, but if it's based on a mistake, it can produce the opposite effects, which he captures in the next sentence. He says, if this is the case, then the spiritual practices themselves are reinforcing the non-existent thing. How can they destroy it? So I was going to read another way, because he says it in a lot of different ways. And I was just looking at this. I was once in England, and I had to take Ryanair, and I was definitely not going to pay them any money to be over the weight limit. So I ripped the book up and only took specific pages with me. Yeah, escaping from the Ryanair additional fucking costs. So he goes here. He says, you impose, you, not Paul or Bill or something. We're the expression of the imposing. Yeah, we're not the imposing. Yeah, so you impose limitations on your true nature of infinite being. So this is the supposition. You impose limitations on your true nature of infinite being, and then weep that you are but a finite creature. Yes? So there's something that's dreaming the dreamt, and as the dreamt, it starts weeping about being a finite creature. Yeah. But there's nothing really dreaming that, and we're missing that. We do not know that, and we find ourselves, or we come to as the finite creature, and basically we're bitching and whining about being a finite creature. And then we can actually make noble or mythologize our original nature from the finite nature. Yes? Then, all right, so that's the first thing. Then you take up this or that spiritual practice to transcend the non-existent limitations. So it's a perfect diagnosis, yeah? I'm going to read that again. So first, and we don't know the first, yeah? We don't get the first. It's sort of like that old Zen saying, first there is the mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is the mountain. But really, first there is no mountain. Yeah, we don't get that. We see the mountain, and then we hope for there to be no mountain, and then the mountain reappears and it bums us out, basically. Yeah. But before the first mountain there is no mountain. See, we're not noticing that. We start from the mountain, and of course, maybe we blame the mountain for our obscuring and not knowing what's going on and being happy, joyous, free, or peaceful, whatever. So we work towards getting rid of the mountain, and we get that great, I've been rid of the mountain, and then the mountain appears again. Because in a way, you can't separate yourself from the mountain, because you and the mountain are a symbiotic event. Yeah? Yeah. There is no mountain without you. And then in a way, there's no you without the reinforcement of the mountain all day. So this is, he's saying, all right, so somehow And see, if someone reads this as the action figure, he can get guilty about this, which isn't the point. You impose limitations on your true nature. What? Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, no. The you isn't you. Yeah. The you is the dance of believing there's an imposition. Yes. You had nothing to do with it, really, in a sense. So you impose limitations on your true nature of infinite being. Okay, there's the starting point. And then that you are but a finite creature. There's a long other point. That goes pretty long in time, usually. Then you take up this or that spiritual practice, obviously, but maybe you took up drugs, you took up this way before, and then usually a spiritual practice is the last house on the block, so to speak. So you've given, nothing else has worked, so you finally go to that. So it says, then you take up this or that spiritual practice to transcend the non-existent limitations, to transcend non-existent limitations. Yeah. All right, to transcend. Yeah, I like that feeling. Oh yeah, that I'm into. I want to transcend, but then he undercuts that by, you want to transcend non-existent limitation. That's why the spiritual practices used to transcend non-existent limitations reinforces the reality of limitations. I mean, that's really the only thumb torture puzzle of non-duality is this. Yeah, that's what makes everything so confusing until you see this. Then it makes total sense. It makes total sense why you were never successful at transcending. Not because you didn't do enough or it had the right person or da-da-da. It's because you're trying to transcend non-existent limitations. So they can seem as real can be, but inherently they're non-existent. So they can appear to us that they exist, but that doesn't mean they exist. That's the good news, yeah? And for us to try to conceptualize they don't exist as they're appearing to exist doesn't go anywhere, to me. It's pointless. So, because, all right, then you take up this or that spiritual practice to transcend the non-existent limitations. But if your practice itself assumes the existence of the limitations, how can it help you to transcend them? That's it. That's the little conundrum that becomes the elephant in the room. It just does. It just becomes a huge shadow. It casts itself wherever it seems to be. And in a sense, it starts because we don't know it. We don't see it. And so we're looking from it. So we're looking from this whole, let's say, chain, but we're not seeing it before the chain. We're seeing it from the chain, yeah? Which isn't really seeing it at all, yeah? So this whole point we're trying to share is, and then follow it up with a lot of warnings, because, okay, now you hear the message, you understand this intellectually. You understand that somehow you, or have imposed limitations on your true nature. Now, that isn't true. Yeah. The limitations on your true nature, the imposing of that is pictured as you, basically. Yeah. You're the evidence of that. Yeah. The appearance of being a long-lasting, independent, separate thing is evidence enough because of our total faith in perceptions, memories, and thoughts. That's all is needed. It just constantly reminds us that we are that which is weeping for the limitations it's running into. And then we seek counsel for everyone else is doing the exact same thing. Yeah. So our wanting to understand the limitations and figure out how to get some relief from the limitations, keep reinforcing the reality of the limitations. Once you're in, there's a huge desire to get out, which is a bigger in. Yeah. Once you're in it, you want to get out of it. That's the only way we can think, because we're a dualistic expression. So we're in this and we want to get out, and it makes total sense. And when it keeps failing, we're befuddled or confused, and we keep trying to do more, do more, do more, do different, do better. Like a lot of people who go hear non-duality, hear it from like 15 different people. They're having non-duality consensual sex at this meeting, then they go to the next person, and they get so much, they don't get anything, really. They get so much information, they don't get anything. Yeah. They're feeding the limitation, really, in a sense. The only people who are monogamous in non-duality are the people that are presenting it, usually. I swear. I don't know. So this is in one. And all these writings that we got, mostly back here in America, in the West, these weren't written by Ramana. They were written by people that had listened to Ramana. And they always have this statement in all the books, somewhere or the other. Usually it's preceded by the greatest mystery or the problem. It gives a huge emphasis to this. Why? Because it's the crux of the whole matter. Because what is studying non-duality gonna do for that which believes it has limitations? The idea that it should have totally unlimitations is another false limitation. Yeah, just like when people go into talks like these, a lot of them haven't, awakening and enlightenment hasn't been a springboard to the sense feltness of the definitions of awakening enlightenment. It's actually been used to beat up and reinforce that which believes it's the limitations. So the words don't work. The words, if they're heard a certain way, are going to be used in a totally different way than you expected. It's going to impose more guilt and shame, because now you believe you should be awake or you should be enlightened. But all of those, again, are coming from the non-existent belief in the limitations, yes? You can't get around it. That's the message, yeah? So the warning is that which you're not is constantly going to say it is the unlimited non-limitation. It is. It's going to try to claim it, and it's going to limit it because that's what it is. It's a concept. It's a program of limitation, a program of downsizing, a program of neutering, a program of making something what it's not. That's what it does. As soon as the mental apparatus meets something, it makes it into something. Like there used to be an old Buddhist Tibetan guy called Champa Rinpoche, and he had a great book, Spiritual Materialism. And in the first paragraph, he says, you need to know this. And I don't like the word ego, but he would say, the ego is going to take advantage of anything it comes in contact with, spirituality, whatever. Yes, I would say selfing, basically. So it's not like a hit or miss. It's going to do that. And if the light hasn't been shown on it, and it's claiming to be the source of the light, you're going to be in darkness around that. You're going to not see the imposed limitations on your true nature. You're not going to see it. You're not going to catch the selfing. The selfing will be selfing like crazy, but you'll call it you, or you'll call it like a verb you're doing. And then once again, the limitations get set. And then, of course, the triggering will want to get relief from the limitations. And then you run into the idea of non-duality, and you apply the same failed approach to that. How can the topic of non-duality is not increased by more? It isn't. More isn't going to do it. There's just a recognition of the simple suggestions, or let's say the clues, and then follow up, so that because the system that we're not is going to regroup. It is. It's going to regroup, and it's going to keep on keeping on, claiming. And then suddenly it'll slip in. It's sort of like the hand and the glove, yeah. It's just going to regroup, and then suddenly you'll be pushed over, and then you'll get it, and then you'll start living an interpretation again. Yes. And then but then it's even worse, because now you have another concept. I have no limits, while you're feeling the effects of limitation. Yeah. And so then non-duality becomes a skillful means, which it isn't. Yeah. You want to apply it to get relief from the limitations, but when you apply it, that it reinforces the reality of the limitations. You don't see it. So basically, you can't get it. Yeah, that's the gorgeousness of the message. Could you imagine the limited being taking itself to really be a transcendent, spiritual, all blissful, all this or that, and every day feeling like that isn't so, and having to deal with that, rationalizing, excusing, denying, and this huge elephant in the room grows, and you think you know, but the knowing isn't translating to it. There's no real freedom from the knowing. You find the knowing is another way of binding you to the limitations. Yeah. So if anything, I hope we can do here is just try to stay right there. Yeah. Because right where you are, there you are. Yeah. Right where you think you are, there you are. There's no escape from everywhere. And you can buy the first book. Yes. There's no escape for everywhere, to everywhere. I don't forget the name of it. Yeah, that's the beauty of it. And you know, it's okay that this has failed. Yeah, it is. It's completely okay, because that's what it's meant to do. The failure of the system that wants to succeed is the success of the system. The recognition that left to my own devices, I'm never gonna get there, then you'll finally recognize they're not your devices. Yeah. It's such a beautiful, and there's such a relief that comes with that. Where is the relief? Here and now for the fucking poor action figure. Yeah. I mean, the glove is fine as a glove. It's fucking, it can't handle it as the hand. Yeah. There's too much demand on it as a hand. As a glove that can come off and on and shit like that, yeah, it's fine. That the glove, it knows that the glove, whatever it touches is going to interpret it by its touch. Yeah, it knows all this finally. Yeah, there's a recognition of its failedness. That's the success. And it's the greatest day for the freaking body mental state. Yeah, because you're relieved of being the center of the universe. You're relieved of that, yeah? And then you can enjoy a latte. You know, you can enjoy eating 50 calories more than you're supposed to eat or whatever. There's certain, you're not taking yourself so freaking seriously anymore. And there's a great joy in that. And I find it expresses as traveling lighter, you know? And traveling lighter doesn't have, oh, let me tell you the moments, the goals where I arrived at traveling lighter. It has no goals. It's not getting anywhere. It's just the way you travel. Yeah. It's not the destination, and the departures and the arrivals become less and less important. You're just here. Yeah. And you're living and you're doing whatever. And you're, So the way I used to see spirituality, I would see I have absolutely none of it now, none. What I thought spirituality was, I have absolutely no signs of it whatsoever, none, none. I thought spirituality was an add-on, it was an improving factor, it was gonna bring out the best in me, I was gonna have clear blue eyes with loving gazes, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da. it isn't like that at all. It's more like I mean, how excited would the fish get for a long time when it finally realizes it's just in the water, and it's always been in the water. It's just its habitat. Yeah, it's just a fact. You know, and there's an incredible reliance on it because it's so, and it's always available at all times, right where you and I think we are. There it is. Yeah, and non-duality is just trying to share with us. You're using the Buddha to seek the Buddha. Yeah, you're using the light you're looking for to seek for the light. Yeah, you're using mind, the big mind, to arrive at mind. Yeah. And if that's the case, how hard is it to get it? Yeah. If you've been living under a certain delusion of not knowing, when it's revealed to you, it may be the right time and the place where that shoe finally fits. And then there's a recognition. And then the onus comes off of you and then is laid on that. And that's always available at all times, right where you are. The sky doesn't get affected by whatever appears in it. Some of that absoluteness, you know, trickle down economy, spiritual economy comes into your life as an action figure. And then you find what you were hoping to find in the inn, as Jesus says, you're in this world, but you're not of it. You realize is coming from the of. That's all. Actually, the back door was actually the front door. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, let's, Howard has a question, I think, Mike or someone, David.
Go ahead, Howard.
Hey, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man. So,
Howard from LA. There's two Howards on this site.
oh, okay.
I can hear the LA Howard. Yes.
Okay, LA Howard's gonna go. Is that okay?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. So, I've been sitting down to meditate, you know, and I really like meditation, but I've been sitting down lately, and I got a couple questions. And the first thing is, so I do believe the obscuring agent is the block to everything. It's self can't see self. I mean, we're obscured everywhere. I'm obscured everywhere I look until I catch it in that little moment. I've been traveling very light, good stuff's happening, but I'll sit down and I'll sit down and meditate, and I'll say, okay, don't obscure this. So,
Yeah, that's just see that's not you that just said that.
okay, great. And then the other thing is, I got $1 trillion bill, and I'd still like $1 trillion. So when you say just now that even that's obscuring, you know, it's not spiritual materialism. Okay, I got it. Boom, boom. So I should just make the choice of wanting what I want, and then like go and be with whatever's happening in my day, because you know, I don't want to just.
I don't know. Find out what works for you.
Well, that works for me. I mean, it works for me to.
Well, there you go. Well, then ride it until the horse dies, and then get on another horse.
Okay, so you know, but
All
I don't
you
want.
need is the eyes to see the horse is dead. That's all. That's the important thing. A lot of times we stay on a dead horse for a while.
So don't stay on a dead horse if the horse I'm riding on is dead.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, you know. Anyway.
For you to don't ride a dead horse is implied that you are riding the dead horse.
Right, exactly. No, it implies that I've been on a dead horse for a little while. That's all good. It's all good. You got to know that. You got to know that to shift. You know, because a lot of what.
Well, you know, the thing is, you do.
You have to.
All the obscuring is when that which comes after is put to be before.
Exactly. No,
then
I get
it has the ability to. Then it has the ability to obscure. But if it gets put in its rightful place, which is after, and the seeing is before, you'll see it. You may not see it now, but we'll be seeing it for sure.
I'm really tripping on talking to the power, and then asking the power about the action figure Howard. because that really works. Because then when the clicks come, it is like a computer system that just goes click, click, and I get an answer that doesn't even require words. It's so felt sense, like you said, and I know when I'm on track, or it's when I get the
Yeah.
direction, the chips fall into place easily. So anyway,
I
don't
want to
wanna-
say something. I wanted to say something about a guy at one of the recovery meetings. It was a great share because he was telling us that, every morning he wakes up and he asks this higher power. See, in recovery, surrender is probably the dominant, let's say, theme. So realizing that you're screwed and then seeking assistance or guidance from a power that doesn't come from that power that's screwed, so to speak. Yes. So he was saying he asks every day, please relieve me of the bondage of self, which is really cool. But then he realized that, yeah, but when I'm saying that prayer, I'm assuming that I'm not in the relief from the bondage of self. So it was really cool. He saw it. And we were talking about it. He says, yeah, the mental state will pray, yeah, for a future condition to obscure the present condition. So he actually had the prayer fulfilled. He was relieved of the bondage of self at that moment, but he was praying. It wasn't him. It's actually what he's not, was praying for a future result of being relieved of the bondage of self. You see it? It's like a robbery in time. And then he saw it, not from that which comes after, but from before. That's what sees, is what's before. If that's replaced by that which comes after, which is the idea of you, the idea of the dreamt, the idea of the non-existent thing, the idea of the one who has limitations, if that's before, then that can obscure a lot, yeah? But when it's put in its rightful place, after being can see it, yes? It's sort of like the difference between Paul sitting at a beach wanting to get sun, and clouds can come and interfere with that desire, yes? A cloud can block me off from the sun. But now let's switch the same situation that Paul is on the side of the sun. Does he see the clouds? Yes. But do they have the ability to block him from the sun? No. All it is position, really. This mental state is doing a maneuver. It presents a story, and then it presupposes to be the story. So it presents a story, and then it presupposes it to be the story. When that's in place, it has an ability to obscure. It does. Because now what you are is seemingly forgotten, because it's taken its place. When you start questioning this, yeah, and then you realize, oh, this is really manufactured. I don't know what the hell I am, literally, yeah? And that's really a great space. Then you see it as after, and it loses its ability to obscure. Eh? It's funny. Yeah. So does it really have an ability to obscure? Only unless if it's lent one, yeah. If it's given one without knowing it, yes, because it's all of us doing the whole activity. But when there's a seeing of it, then that ability to be obscuring gets removed. Let's say maybe not all at once, but it will weaken definitely. Yes. So now that once seems solid and real, you start seeing through it. Yes. Yes. It's inevitable. Something that's finite cannot stand the glare of what is infinite. Yes. Something that's finite cannot stand the glare of what is infinite. There's no freaking way. We're giving it way too much fucking power. It's just because it's been crowned to be before. That's it. The whole thing, I'll show it again. The presupposing of a non-existent thing, and the presupposing is that it exists, basically. Yeah. Yes? So it's the one that's generating life. It's the one that's alive. Yes, I'm seeing, I'm hearing, I'm feeling, all that. It all comes from this claiming of everything, yeah? And then it's attributed to this image. So now suddenly, the presupposing of a non-existent thing, where is it being presupposed? Before. It's being put on the alpha position. That's what it is. So it's, you can see it, it's manufactured. That's what we call it selfing. It gets produced, yeah, by insinuation, by assumption, by implying, yeah, assuming, supposing, yeah. But when it is assumed, it's presupposed, assumed. So when it catches the situation, it leaps over everything, and now it's the one. That's the obscuring agent. Yeah? The obscuring agent is us, our light being given to the shadow. And now the shadow is seen as the light. Yes? Now the shadow is seen as the light. And then all the while as the shadow, which is AKA the light, the mistake is now the light is using itself to find itself because it's taken itself to be the shadow. So now it's using light, using Buddha, using mind to seek mind, light, and Buddha, because it doesn't get that it's Buddha, light, and mind. The shadow, and it's bereft of light, so it needs light. So the shadow starts seeking and seeking and seeking, but all the while it's light seeking light. That's the correction of non-duality. And when the correction is entertained, there's no need for a correction because none of it ever happened. That which is after has never been before. It's just appearing to before to be before. That's all it is. That which is after is appearing to before. I'm before what I am. It's appearing to before that it's before. Yes? And it just, and once that's in place, it just riffs. It riffs and riffs and riffs. And it makes thousands of, it's like Starbucks, but on steroids. It has one product, coffee, and it makes like 60 products out of it, yeah? Well, this thing has one idea, separation, and then makes tons of fucking products out of it, yeah? Exactly, it just goes off. And it just mutates and mutates and mutates and mutates, yeah? If you're in a position, and the position is you can take what's taking everything to be serious, not to be you, yeah, yeah. If you can take that instead of taking that to be you and then taking everything seriously, yeah. They're both options. There's no choice in it. There's just seeing, yeah. When in a certain pair of configurations, you see one thing. When you come to, you see another thing. It's the same, but you see it differently, yeah? When you come after, you see it differently than when you're before. And I'm saying you've always been before, literally. Now, who knows? It may not be correct, but that's the message, yeah? I don't even care, to tell you the truth. I've lost interest in it. I'm interested in, hey, somehow, wherever I seem to have landed, I don't see anything before it. That's basically, yeah. All I see is, seeing is all there is. Awareness is all there is. No thingness is the mother and father of all thingness, yeah. No thingness, yeah. You can make thousands of copies from a negative of a photo. You can't make a copy of a positive. Yeah. The nothingness is the reality. The positive is the dreaming. Yeah. And yet we're thinking the dreaming and the thingness is reality. It's all ass backwards. It's like Bizarro world. Yeah. And if you keep moving with the ass backwards, it compounds the problem. That's what the statement is. It says, hey, then you take up a this or that practice. We're going to try to alleviate the problem. Yes? by doing certain stuff. You take these as practice to transcend these non-existent limitations, but what happens is they're actually reinforcing or assume the existence of the limitations, yeah? So because we're reality, we're giving reality. We're all day as an action figure, we're giving reality to yesterday and tomorrow. We are. I can be totally flipped out about next Wednesday. Does next Wednesday exist now? No. But it doesn't matter because I'm reality, dreaming. How can you not see? You know, it's obvious, isn't it? When you're having a bad day, time's going very slowly. When you're having a great day, it goes fast. What do you think? It just slowed up or sped up? It's not like it's running with you. We're it. We're dreaming. Yeah? Dreaming. Can you imagine time as this present thing? And you're running and it runs with you. No, it doesn't. You know what I mean? I know there's at least 500 million resentments out there. 499 million are fucking natural, and then there's 100,000 resentments that are tamed and domesticated. Yeah, and I'm having a really bad life. I keep running into a lot of resentments. There's no resentments out there. They come from us. Yeah, the way we're seeing something. I heard the continent that has the most resentments has to be America. Sure. Jesus, I had a great day. I didn't run into any resentment today. But I couldn't do anything. That's what I have to do. My life has to get so small so I don't run into resentment. This is a simple invitation. You entertain it, see if it works with you. Yeah, if it allows a certain traveling lighter over time. First, you're not going to understand anything I'm saying, probably, and that's fine. Yeah, because the point was, I'm not trying to give you an understanding. We learned a long time ago with the message, we're throwing the message over our head. Yeah, because I'm not talking to who you are. I'm hopefully communicating to what you are. Yeah, and because I know you, the who, claiming to be the one who heard the message, is the neutering of the message. That's it. Yeah. So, but when the what hears it, so in other words, instead of without knowing it, starting from what you're not, trying to get to what you are, we're going to look at that from what you are. So instead of trying to look for what you are from what you're not, we're going to look at what you're not from what you are. That's basically it. Yeah. It's the same event, just the attention's different. That's all it is. Yeah. Right now, it can be seen one way. I'm looking for whatever. Yeah. And at the same moment, the possibility of seeing you're not that, looking for whatever is there. There's no need to move anything. Yeah. You just see it in a different way. And one totally clears up all the misassumptions of the other. It does. Yeah. Once you see it, it's sort of like it's always been this way. This was nothing ever really happened. It was all based on me, in a sense, the way I was seeing things. Yeah. Yeah. All right. We have another question. Z, how are you, bro?
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Chris. Can you
Chris.
hear me, Paul? Paul,
I can. Yes.
Okay. I had a couple of things. I just wanted to say something about the Course in Miracles and Lao Tzu. I found that my experience with the Course in Miracles was very immediate. It's almost like, as you're talking about it, going, kind of through the action figure or the ego or whatever you want, right to kind of some kind of nothing center where it sort of strips you away from everything. and it was quite immediate. And I also found that with Lao Tzu, there's just, in both of them, there's this kind of immediate lightness that you feel from the kind of the essence of, or whatever it is that they're getting at, which is completely intangible. Anyway, that's all I want to say about that. But I have another question about, are you, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
The other question I had is, and I'll really be quick because there's other people, are you using the words perceiving and dreaming interchangeably when you talk about?
No, I'm not. Perceiving is something that happens in the dreaming. Yeah, but it's not dreaming. It's an aspect in the dreaming, but it's not that which is dreaming. No, I'm using it differently.
Because I'm a little confused.
The perceptions are programmed basically to see the dreaming as real. Yeah.
To see the dream is real. I mean, are you?
Yes.
Is perception equivalent to sort of like source essence stuff there? Is that what that perceiving is getting?
No. Perceptions can be manipulated. No, I'm not inferring my word. No.
Because the word dreaming is throwing me off because the sort of like the goal, if you want to put it that way, is to sort of get beyond any kind of dreaming at all, right?
No, well, see, I'm using the terminology of dreaming, where sometimes the Course would call it a dream. I don't like the idea of a noun, so I don't think there's a dream. There's dreaming. And then the Course would always point to us as the dreaming, yeah? Not the dreamt. That's how I see it. So this would be the dreamt, yeah? Like a great master, Huang Po, says, whatever can be perceiving, right, can't be that which is perceived, yes? Yeah. So now he's using it in a different way. So there's perceiving in the Course in Miracles. Perception is limited because it's programmed. Yeah. So we're perceiving the dreaming as if it's real. Yeah. So the perceiving is based on things and stuff. Yes. Other people use the word perceiving to mean awareness or other things. But when I'm using it, I'm usually talking about it in the Course in Miracles frame. Perceiving is a limited function. Yeah.
So what precedes perceiving and dreaming then? Nothingness?
Well, awareness, or, yes.
Okay.
I don't know if anything precedes anything out of time, but let's say in this way, yeah. Yes. You would say the awareness is dreaming, or like in certain Buddhism, they would say let's say the essence of mind is emptiness, yeah? It's, what is it? Its nature is reflective, and then its manifestation is energy. So I would say the dreaming is sort of energy, yeah? Yeah.
And that's kind of less real, quote unquote, than what comes before it, before anything, if you want to put it in those terms.
Well, yes, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Of course it's real, but it's appearing. Yes. So like, of course, like in Buddhism, emptiness is form and form is emptiness. Yes. Yes. But is form emptiness? Ultimately, but it isn't in appearance. Yes. So I feel there's a distinct difference. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I can't. Who is it? This one.
I can see myself.
Go
It's
ahead,
Jahida.
Laura.
Hi. So, since listening to you, life is like so much easier because I don't take anything that serious anymore, because I do see like this is it. And so it's like everything that happens that I used to get so upset over, it's like it doesn't fucking matter. So I can still address it, but I don't get so emotional, like as emotional. And I can see like you were saying, like, oh, that's not me. Like I can see the story when it happens, and then I can say, oh, there's the story. That's a story. But sometimes the me still is like thinks that if I don't
Hey,
like,
honey, can we just back up about 3 words?
yeah.
Yeah. And arrive at but, B-U-T. Yeah. And then let's stop there and just enjoy the first part of what you were saying. Yeah. Lead to that, and then the but will come later and later. And by the time it does later on, you'll have lost total interest in what comes after the but.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Just stay there. Yeah, what you said is great. And then the but comes in, and then there's bringing something else into the picture. Yeah.
I got it.
So just for today, and you and I will both be better off for it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thank you. Very good. Yeah, good show.
Thank you, Jahira. Dana, you up? I muted you. Whoops.
Oh, Dana.
Hey.
Yes.
Hi.
How
So
you
yeah,
doing?
I'm doing really good. So one thing that was kind of tripping me up periodically was the whole thing about it. I guess when you start getting into the like a non-existent thing or a no thing, I mean, maybe obviously that's just hard to perceive. You can't perceive a no thing.
Yeah.
You can't,
Hard.
so
Very hard.
you can't get it, you know, so you can't, but it was funny. I don't know, like last night I was, I found
No,
myself,
just stop 1 second. Just
yeah,
stop there. You can't get it.
you can't get it, right.
Yeah. And then
So
mostly what comes after that are is based on an assumption that you can get it.
well, what I have heard is like, okay, don't look at that. Look at the action figure. You can study, you know, and you can get to know this,
Yeah,
this
sure.
action figure. And so, you know, as I was obsessively eating toast last night, like as if, you know, I was like, and finally I just went, I think I've had enough toast, but it's not going to do it for me. Toast isn't going to do it. So I started writing, and I kind of thought, okay, so I can study the action figure. Okay, let's get into it. What does this action figure want? And after a whole lot of, you know, writing, which was kind of interesting, I was like, okay, what is it afraid of? And the answer was so unsettling, because it was like, it's afraid that everything's fine, that everything is actually afraid of that maybe it doesn't really want anything. Maybe it doesn't really, that it is, that nothing else, that, you know, and I thought, that should be so comforting, and yet it was not that comforting.
Well, because of what heard it, you see,
Right.
what claimed to be the hero of it, it's very disturbed. But what you are, yeah. Again, see, you get to starts getting to see what keeps jumping ahead of the line to say it's you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then usually we make the statement, I'm uncomfortable. And then there's just therapy after that. Yeah. Yeah. So you try to make it easier for the non-existent thing to disappear when it's never appeared, really. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were in a hallway of nursing in a hospital, I would leave those patients alone, all the non-existent ones.
Don't touch them. That's very infectious.
You'll have your shift will be over much faster. Yeah. Yeah. if you've had a sense of something, like the guy a few minutes before talked about the immediacy of the course when it would come in through, and messages, those are good indications, because the downloads are not of time, yeah, so they can be whacked, and things are happening, yeah, they are in you, so, or as you, and just realize it's not from you, yeah, and then just when something wants to take your place and make a proclamation, or that's enough, or I'm not going to just maybe have a little idea. It may not be you, so you don't. Your life doesn't get based on that position. Yeah, why not find you'll find out about a new position. Yeah, and it's like after a while, you'll recognize the fruit and the tree they come from. Yeah, and the action figure will find a certain ease and comfort it couldn't get by manipulating circumstances or conditions or anything. It does. It gets relief in the in from the ofness. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Now in recovery, we look at it as a surrender, where Ramana would say, sometimes he'd say there's only like two things to do, really. Either you look at the origin of the misery, which is basically, in a sense, what we're doing here, and seeing that you're not that, or you surrender, admitting that at least you're overmatched here and you just can't pull it off. Then you surrender, yeah, like say the steering wheel or the reins over to the care of a higher power, yeah, hopefully of its own understanding sooner or later. And then basically that's that, yeah. So there's a recognition one way or the other, and basically those two roads, if they seem to be different, always converge, yeah, because you're the ultimate reality here, in a sense. Not the ultimate reality, there's no ultimate reality, because that would mean there's a lesser reality, but and so how can you lose in a way? See, this is the fear that we're in a lot, and we're still, that activity, that mental abstraction still plays God a lot, and it has you strung out and really asking it for permission, in a sense, a lot of the time, yeah, and always ready to be resentenced and put on probation constantly. So there's a lot of angst with that, as that which is with that playing God, yes. So basically, and that playing God can't quit playing God. That would be playing God, yeah, because it's always in the state of playing God. It isn't God, it plays God. We're the God juice in a way, yeah. So you see that, and so there's those two options: seeking surrender, yeah, surrender, realizing this mechanism is a failed mechanism. It's not going to get what you are, because it's an abstraction of that, yeah. So you get that, yeah. Or they can combine, where there's a surrender occurs, has a strong enough effect on the action figure, it leads to the possibility of seeing the exact nature of the wrongs, yeah, or seeing like the origin of things, yeah, which always go back to what we are. There's all there is us, in a sense, yeah, really, yeah. So, and like the lady before, we were joking the other day with some of the guys about but, that's where the world begins. So everyone gives a nice share, and then the word but comes up, and then the world spits out, and that's what needs all the diapers and all those, it's just like, it's great when you just stop it at but, yeah, and just, oh wow, yeah, maybe that's more than enough. Hey, maybe I'm traveling later, maybe that's more than enough, yeah. And maybe if that which is allowing that traveling later to occur, if I don't get in the way, maybe it will keep occurring. Yeah, who knows? Yeah. And maybe I don't need to seek permission from anything. Maybe I'll be given permission. Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? These are possibilities. And I like the idea for me because of the action figure. The surrender that happened to me, I got struck sober, really. And so something that had was the dominant theme of this life since I was about 11 or 12, and that I truly believed underneath it and as it that it was never could possibly change, and no human power could pull it off. Suddenly, in a fucking trailer in some town called Calistoga, something downloaded to somewhere, not here, and put a stop to it. It was like a radioactive isotope was removed, and that urge to escape, that urge to keep trying to outrun all this guilt and shame I had about all these things I thought I did, fucking was put to an end, and it's never come back for 32 years. So that was an incredible establishment of something. And then that also, in another phase, I don't believe there's time in a sense, in another phase, then the mind was freed to entertain the exact natures of wrongs, yeah, to check it out, yeah. It's not going to get there when everything is chaotic and all my job is to keep everything down. That shit's not going to come up into the light, yeah. But then suddenly that got settled, and then another possibility showed up, brought through this idea of non-duality to really explain the exact nature of the wrong that I had such an intimate experience with over my life, yeah. And so I could finally see the problem from the solution, yeah. And it told me I'd been seeing from the problem most of my life, yeah. And that demanded so many solutions. So I started seeing the problem from the solution, and basically on this one level, that seeing became the last answer. I haven't looked for a new solution in years, and it doesn't look like it's coming, yeah. So basically I call it a last answer because it negated any need for any more solutions concerning this topic, yeah, which is awesome, unbelievable. And does the dreaming continue? Of course it does. The action figure is here. And does the action figure have relevance in the dreaming? Yes, yeah. And I don't see it as an adversarial event. I see it as inclusive, yeah? Yeah, there's what I'm not, and there's what I am. What I am has a certain infinite quality. What I'm not has a finite quality, yeah? What I am is always available at all times. What I'm not can be spaced out quite a lot. Let's see, yeah? Da-da-da-da-da. But there's no, yeah, it's only when what you're not is taken to be what you are, then it suddenly has a huge power in a way to seemingly obscure you from the obviousness of what's going on. It does, yeah?
Yeah.
So the message is just to put the place, it's like looking at a table for a long time and just assuming that the glasses were exactly where they were. And no entertainment that you could ever change them. It's just sort of like seeing it. And then one day you can move it. And then you see, that, yes, the aha hits you. Go, exactly. And then it tells you it's always actually been that way. The way you thought it was, that was such a little hook all day, wasn't that way. Hallelujah. What a great solution not to have to be a solution. Yeah. It just, like the Course would always say, the correction that never needed to be corrected. Yeah. So you see what isn't so from what's so. And there's no fucking, you don't vanquish a non-existent thing. Yeah. You don't fight and destroy a non-existent thing. You see things as they are and as they aren't. Yeah. And it's quite simple. It's not a big, profound, mystical adventure. They can come and go, but the basis of it is now like the horse is in front of the cart, and it's obvious after a while. Yeah, yeah. So.
Well, I look forward to that.
Well, don't look forward to it because it may be right now. See, that's
Maybe right.
looking forward, maybe being used to deny what's there. That's the
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a trick. How about, you look forward to something and then you're blind to it now a lot of the time. Not saying it has to be the way, but a lot of times it's like, that's how it is. You want to have a future condition and you're reinforcing a false condition. Yeah. Giving it a reality it doesn't deserve. We don't have any idea how powerful we are. We're all fucking expert magicians, and we're so expert, we don't even know. We're like the rabbit in the hat. We have no idea, but we're playing all the roles, and most of the time we're living as if we're the rabbit. We're getting pulled out. What the fuck happened, But there's a magic trick going on. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. Go to the next one. Nice to see you, honey.
You too.
Anybody else want to raise their hand?
What time is it? Oh, yes. There's Emad down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Abhishek.
Hi.
Oh, first, all right. Emad, yes, I see you.
Okay.
Now,
So, in finding who you are not, I think I asked you, I still don't get it. So, who is finding who I am not is also who I am not. Is that a fair statement?
no. That only happens it's never who you're not. There's a seeing of who you're not, and then what you're not claims to be the seer of what you're not. You see it? What you see, you don't see what you're not. You see the mental state claiming what you are. That's what you see.
So who's seeing that I am
There's
not?
no who, there's just seeing.
Okay.
See, this is the mental logic. The programming we've been indoctrinated in is if there's a doing, there must be a doer. That's bullshit. There's doing. You get caught in the noun-verb paradigm. This isn't about that. This is a negation of the noun-verb.
Okay, so for example, when you were saying a few minutes ago, like when you realize you accept, like the who you are not will never be able to figure it out. So you just relax and there's freedom in that. Like, so
Yes.
who's experiencing that freedom? I mean, is that?
There's just freedom expressing. Then there's the narration that there's a you experiencing it. That's an interpretation, a mental interpretation. Why is it that an experience needs to have an experiencer? The experiencer is an add-on. It's just experiencing.
Okay.
Everything is verbing. If you look at it, this is not a leap of faith. Just observe what's happening. What comes first? Verbing, obviously. Seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. What came after? Claiming of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching to imply the seer, the hearer, the feeler, the taster, the toucher. It does the same thing over and over again. You see it?
Yes, yes.
Are you seeing? Are you doing it like an activity, like running? Am I like seeing now? Are you? No. There's seeing, and there's an observation of the seeing, yeah? And then there's a claiming of the seeing to imply a seer. So that which comes after, which is the seer, now gets presupposed before, which is what is it presupposed before? The seeing. So now when seeing is noticed, seeing is aware of, then the mental state immediately goes to its fault mechanism, which is, aha, seer. Yeah? Seeing implies seer. And so you run it, not you personally, but the mental state trying to figure things out runs into its own fucking program. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, really, your story of being the doer came after there was a whole lot of doing called you, like when you were a baby. Yeah. You were doing tons of shit, shitting and everything like that. And there was no sense of being a doer, yet doing continued. Yes, 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 yes. All right. Then the mental state developed, and now all the shitting you take personally. So you get embarrassed. So fuck this, da da da. Yeah. So that came after. Now it's implied to be before. So the seeing isn't noticed as, hey, that's probably what I am, which is no thingness, obviously. You want to call it consciousness or awareness, obviously, because it's not like something seeing, like a thing. Yeah. The thing facilitates seeing, but it is not what's seeing. Yeah. If you could take a perfectly okay eye out of a dead body and put it in a live body, it would probably facilitate seeing. But in the dead body, it's never going to facilitate seeing because it's not the eye that sees. It's consciousness or aliveness or whatever. Yes? I mean, it's obvious. So seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. Mental state arises. There's no one. That's the mental state. It's not even a thing. It just arises. It claims the seeing, the hearing, the feeling, and all that stuff to infer or to point at the seer, the hearer, the feeler, the taster, the toucher. Now suddenly that interpretation that came after is now before, and you live as the seer, the hearer, the feeler, the taster, the toucher, instead of living as the seeing, the hearing, the feeling, the tasting, and touching. So now you've left, in a sense, the verbal world, and you're now in a noun world. And then the verbing of life frustrates you as a noun. And so you're trying to figure out what noun's doing all this. Yes? Well, there is no noun doing all this. It's just doing. Yeah? But if you're from the world of noun, you can only see nouns.
So the other thing is, for example, when you, like also when making decisions or willpower, is that also like just arises? Then
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And then the mental state rushes and says, I did it. They've done tests, a simple test. I'm looking at what they used in this test right now, which is a clock. And they'd have this PhD lady with all the things on her head, and they would say, okay, well, you're going to control the arm of the clock. They just use one arm. And then stop it whenever you want to. So she'd stop it, and then she would say, like, I'm going to stop it, but not stop it, then stop, try to fool herself. And then they looked at the brain information, and the brain lit up about a second before her proclamation that she did it. So she was taking herself to be that which comes after, and therefore was missing a lot of the before. And you know what? A life based on after, without a lot of an acknowledgement of the before, is probably going to be fucking really confusing, because it's difficult to use the logic of noun on a world of verbs. It's very, very difficult. You got to have a lot of agreement, which we do, to think that, oh yeah, just like we use the simple, and the language is unbelievable for it. So let's say I went out in the water 5 years ago, catching waves, then the knee went out, and then ended my little surfing career, as tilted to this day. So when I would tell people what happened, I would say, I hurt my knee down at Ocean Beach. So it sounded like I swam out in the water with a hammer and fucking banged my knee. The ownership of the noun, I hurt my knee. Why would I want to hurt my own knee? It just creates tons of minutia based on a fallacy. I didn't hurt my knee. I observed the knee went out, basically. That's what happened. Yeah. So here, or, I go back to New York. My hair's grown like it's now doing in isolation. if I don't keep my eye on it, it's always fucking growing. I don't know. That'd be word. So, and someone came in the meeting and said, "Hey, Paul, you're growing your hair." You know, nice innocent statements. Like, "Oh yeah, I'm growing my hair. I'm doing really good. Look at this, man." And I said, "Man, this guy's balding." I'm saying, "You're not doing well, my friend. You want to join this group I'm with? We grow our hair together. It seems to speed up the growth, and you know, and I got some shampoo I can sell you and shit like that. And you know, I have pride for my long hair and shit like that. And but back, I didn't do shit. I just didn't cut it. Yeah, the hair's growing on its own. I have nothing to do with it. Yet the language constantly presupposes I have a lot to do with a lot of shit I have nothing to do. Yeah. All right,
Thank you.
let's say you believe in noun. Let's say you believe in nouns, but you've got to admit verbing is prior. On the whole basis of just recognizing your own base of experience all day, there's seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, and then something comes after. Yes, yes. So if you don't believe everything is verbing, at least put the noun where it's rightfully meant to be, which is after the verb, not before the verb. Yeah. And then when you hit a point, you won't be asking who. You'll realize there's no one there. And tons of shit's happening, and there's no one there. Yeah. So.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Thanks. Avishag is next.
Hi, can I be heard or do I have to push a button? Oh, it's
Hear ya.
okay.
I think you're on. I can hear you now. Yeah.
So there's this two strategies going on right now, and I'm using the word strategy for easiness, so don't respond to that part. One thing that's happening is it's like this opening of all this unresolved trauma is leaving. It's painful. And the other thing is, so I'm going through the experience of just feeling, and it's coming up and it's going away and it's fine. I'm not upset or fighting with it. So the other thing is I'm having the concepts, maybe I'm having a hard time with just the idea of the understanding of being present with this nothing, and yet going through this experience. It's like this huge sack shoved, it's packed so tight with energy, and now like pieces are coming out and releasing, and it's opening. And in the releasing, there is just an allowing, and it's fine. And there's a lot there. So it's gonna take a while. So I'm a bit like confused, I guess, about just the surrender. Like it seems it's happening, it's an experience, but yet it doesn't seem to be the same as there's nothing. And yet at the same time as it's releasing, it's becoming nothing. I don't know if I'm making sense of what I'm. My mind is sort of speaking.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Just stay on the operating table. Don't get up. Don't play doctor. Things will go well.
Okay.
Yeah, let it do what it's. First of all, you don't have much say in the matter anyway. So, just it's. You know, the great assurance is you're in good hands. Yeah.
So there's one thing. Okay, I believe you that I don't have much say, but I don't believe you on another, in the sense that there's a part of thinking where it's like, if I am not careful, I'm going to get distracted, and then I'm going to mess with it and interfere, and then it's not going to work.
You're not gonna, it's giving itself too much relevance.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Something's going on. It would love to divert it. It would love to try to canal it. It would like to build a dam around it. It would like to stick its little fingers in the dike, somehow exert some kind of control over it. Just let it dangle its little programming. Yeah.
Okay.
It's revealing itself. What's the great moments are the emperor with no clothes. Yeah. You just see it. You see it as not you. Yeah. It needs you. You don't actually need it to the extent it has you convinced you do. It needs you completely. It's living. See the glove? all of its puppet shows and everything are based on the hand. Yeah. You're the
So
hand in a sense. Yes.
every
And
time
then the
it
glove
comes,
is talking.
I'm saying every time it comes up in my to just say that this is nothing. This is thought. This is not
You
real.
don't have to say anything.
Well, just to
You
help
don't
me
have to
not
say
get
anything.
sucked in.
What?
Just to help me
I
not
didn't hear
get
that.
sucked in.
All right, then yeah, use those things. But what are you afraid of getting sucked in?
Sucked into the thinking about it, to any mind about it, so that I can not, like, start to mess with it, and I allow it to just be it's pure experience. Okay, this is just a shifting. Don't get like,
honey, maybe you're trying to contain it is reinforcing it in a sense. Yes.
well, I'm trying.
Maybe like smoke, it wants to lift off and you're trying to put a ceiling in it, and so you're keeping it in circulation. Maybe you should just see that which is trying to control it is that obscure.
No, I understand that. That's why I'm thinking, if I say that, like, just, or sometimes I'll just say okay or yes or home or something. But sorry, my phone is interrupting. That if I simply say this is nothing, not to say it's nothing like forcefully, but rather to remind myself that this is just nothing, and that to help me not even get indulge or get caught in any thinking that arises around it. That was the idea of saying it.
Well, whatever works for you, really. And then just don't make it a rule, because there aren't any. If it works for you now, it may not work for you tomorrow. It may not be appropriate tomorrow, but whatever you feel you need to do to allow that which you can't stop anyway to go, then that's fine. We're just fooling ourselves. It's fine. We're fooling ourselves so we don't get off the operating table. And then you realize you were never going to get off the operating table later on. So it's whatever.
Oh, it's good. It's reassuring to hear that I can't get off if I can't make myself get off, even, well, I'm hoping I'm allowing myself to embrace that, but there's a part of me that's still fearful, but that'll
Nothing has to be seen as like at the edge of a cliff moment, it doesn't have to be that way. If you're feeling like something's too much, back off. It's always going to be available.
It doesn't feel more like an edge of a cliff. It feels like I'm going to get tricked and manipulated off the table.
No, don't. It doesn't have that much power.
Okay.
It doesn't. I remember I went to a place and I was sharing there, and they were trying to sort of nicely force people into an awakening or something. And so some lady was sharing that, I was here all these weeks and they brought me to the cliff, but then I didn't want to go to the cliff. And I said, what should I have done? Well, walk away. There'll be a cliff again. It's no big it's not like a huge event, really.
Yeah, I guess.
Do what you need to do. If you need to, if there's a feeling, see, there's a lot of policeman thief activity going on. Yeah. And sometimes the worst character is the policeman. Fucking it is. So watch out for it. They're the same in two different outfits. Yeah. So yeah, just be kind to yourself at all possible. Yes.
Yeah.
Please.
I would say, okay, I want to just bring up, time seems to be the issue. Like, so you're saying, that you can just walk away. It's going to come back. And the response is, I don't want it to take a long time. I want it to rather
that doesn't take a long time, honey. You're not that, which doesn't want to take a long time. That's the good news.
Okay,
so
that's just
you'll be more in acceptance posture than on all right, let's go and giddy up posture. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think just staying
When
it
I
helps.
laid on, I got run over by a car,
Mhm.
twice in one night. So when they laid me down the operating table, I wasn't saying, hey, I only want this to be a 9-hour operation. You know, you know what I mean? I wasn't putting requirements on the situation. I was in bad shape, and it took 17 hours. Yeah, but hey, wait a minute. This is way past. I wanted to get this done quickly. Well, so what? I had no power concerning the situation. Yeah, so.
Well, okay, so this is where I feel like, okay, this is the part when I speak or address it or admit it, feelings and thoughts, stuff starts to unravel and open. And when I don't, nothing is happening. So that's my assumption, is that if I keep leaning into that and talking about it, then that will support the shifting and therefore shorten the time. So is that assumption inaccurate?
In my view, yes, because it's, in a way, you're moving from nothing's happening. That's actually the goal. In a way, seeing nothing's happening. That's just the view. Yeah, I'm an easier, softer type. Like if I was teaching Buddhism, it would be laying down Buddhism. Our goal would be whoever goes to sleep the fastest. It would. I feel simpatico with that because I was so, when I was younger with the drugs and alcohol, when I got into recovery, I seemed to place myself on probation for about 4 or 5 years. I was watching, not knowing it wasn't me. It was like a policeman, but this time it was like a captain, a policeman, had total surveillance on me and judging everything I did and didn't do, not realizing that's the epitome of the obsession with self. But it had to seem to happen. And after about 4 years, I was let off of my own probation, my own parole, and things got looser and looser and clearer and clearer. So whatever happens, happens. That which is guiding us, you're on a winning bet. You can't lose. So
I believe you, but I don't understand it completely like this.
you don't need to understand it completely, honey. Just believe here, do what you need to do. Whatever happens, come back and we'll just keep sharing and we'll see where both of us go, yeah? With all of our little group. Yeah? You've come along, things have been happening, so stick with it. And then things will become clearer.
Okay, thank you.
I'm serious. Things will become clearer. That's the point of it. The point of it is, if you hear the warnings about how the obscuring, how what we are actually becomes the obscuring agent, when you hear the warnings, you'll catch it more. That's all. You'll see it. And then when you see it, you won't call it me. You'll recognize that it's not you, and there'll be a loss of interest in all of it. You will. And that's the real, it's not like you're not burning it up. You're taking the light out, really. That's all. The light leaves that preoccupation, and then it enriches your day instead of enslaving you to fucking shit going on all day, which is usually what's not happening. It enriches your day, and you'll be the better for it, and so will others. Yeah.
Some of that is getting in there. You were talking before how you try to talk to what we're not. I mean, what we are, not who we are. And I can see how the who and the what are like going on, like how the whoing is trying to get in on it.
There'll be more.
Step back a little more.
There'll be more. Yeah. Rely on the seeing, not on the thinking about the seeing. Rely on the seeing. Yeah.
Okay.
The seeing is the one quality that's everlasting. It's the one quality here that you can rely on. because it's not under your jurisdiction, really. You're not at the spigot. There's no hot and cold. You're not turning it off or doing like that. And you'll tell when a description comes from its analysis, you'll see the difference between a description coming from the mental analysis, yeah? There was this thing in the Course in Miracles. They have an idea of this power as Holy Spirit, yeah? And in recovery, we have it as higher power. And in my limited understanding of the Course, the Holy Spirit is taking the same information the brain is collating, but collating in a totally different manner, yeah? So there's no need for a different life unless it grows that way, but there's a need of it being seen differently. So when there's a surrender or recognition that GPS has failed, or that which is interpreting, quote unquote, my life is a miss, then maybe there's a surrender, and then an aspect of mind, what's represented as the higher power or the Holy Spirit, takes the same information that's gathered through a day and collates it completely differently. So the material that would lead to a certain conclusion doesn't go there. It's the same material, but the conclusion's completely different, yeah? And when messages are coming through that, you'll get a feeling of it after a while, and you'll be able to recognize what transmission location the radio waves are coming from. You'll recognize it. You'll have a sense of it, yeah? And then that which you come to know is from that source, yeah? There's a reliance on that, and it proves itself over and over and over again. I mean, it's a valid source of interpretation and whatever. And then you see more and more the bogusness of the other system. It's not at fault. It can't do any better than it can do. Yeah, it's severely limited by programming. So it's one of the programming is it believes it can get out of itself. It does. And it's captured, the futility of that is captured in AA by saying self can't get out of self. Well, the self does not believe that. It doesn't. It believes it can get out. It believes it can take this drug and get out. It believes it can get out. It believes if it leaves the situation, it will leave the whole situation behind. It doesn't realize that wherever you are, there it is. And then it believes that it's going to leave this body when it dies and go off and do other fucking things. Yeah? So the idea of trying to convince that it's failed doesn't fucking work. What happens is what you are, the message comes from there. And what it means, it was a simple headline, no story, and it was, I'm fucked. Clear as day. It had been clear for years, but not to me. And then it was put to rest, and something just, that was that. And you know what? You're not managerial quality. Nope, that was it. Never changed. I've never come up for review. It's never debated every year. It just became a fact in my life. I was convinced, yeah? The mental state does not have that ability. That ability comes from what we are, yeah?
Yeah.
So let's go to Daz.
I hear you. I get it, and then it's just like the hear the self come.
I've lost you there.
Hi, Paul. It's Daz. You all right?
Oh, Daz. All right. Yes,
Hi, you all right? Can you hear me?
I can.
Good. I'm
looking
really
for
getting
it.
into
There you go.
these. Yeah, I'm really getting into your teachings, and yeah, it's starting to settle in, and I'm starting to come to a knowledge of what I'm not and what I am, and I believe I've lived a life in 40 years of what I'm not. So I'm very aware of what behavior comes of what I'm not, and what thinking of what I'm not, and where it takes me. I just want to ask you, when comes the realization that I will understand, or we understand what we are not, that we've arrived and we can clearly see that who we are, and I suppose be in control of the feelings, the thoughts of what we're not, and the acting out on what we're not, being in control, and yeah, being clear on what we are. Is it just come with time and practice, and or is it
It's
like
a,
an epiphany, like a?
no, it's available now, and you may miss it or you may not miss it, but it's always available. And if you miss it, you'll lose interest you'll lose interest in that which believes it's missed it, and more you realize you never missed anything. Yeah, in other words, you've never left the moment and needed to have a methodology to get back into it. Yeah, you realize all the belief in missing and I blew it or I'm disconnected, it loses steam. It's like a sail on a clear, windless day. It's just there. The sail's still there, but it's not moving anything. Yeah, because it needs that wind. Well, the wind has changed. Yeah. So the idea of missing it is truly an idea. When believed, it can seem to be so, but when revealed, it was never so, to tell you the truth. So, yeah, it's a tricky thing. It's a feeling, and so there's no date or any end time. And what happens usually, while you're moving along, you lose interest in any date or end time or final conclusion or the day of infamy, or like a clear borderline. You just lose interest. You're not looking and watching so much. Yeah.
So
that's part of the release.
Does the understanding come more with like a feeling of the peace and like the contentment?
Well, in my case, it was that. I guess if I was working and everything was going well, I'd have no interest in looking at anything. Yeah. But in this case, this trajectory of dreaming, that wasn't the case. A lot of shit happened. And so I was trying to avoid what it was attempting to tell me. And yet something I like to call it grace put an end to that. And I got stopped, and, I saw stuff that I didn't really want to see. Obviously, that didn't want to see it wasn't me, but I had no idea of that yet. So life almost in a way force-fed me, and then I started to enjoy it. But I thought if everything was going great, probably I wouldn't have been that interested in it. Yeah.
Being new to this, like thinking about what I'm not could really, really get my knickers in a twist and confuse everything.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's best not to do that.
What you're not is what you're not thinking.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes, I understand.
Just come here, Daz. Do whatever you need to do to feel good. In the parameters of being sober and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And then just don't take this. You don't have to chew this 50 times. It's in there already. You don't have to just chew it. You really don't. And how it's gonna go is how it's gonna go here. And just hopefully you've been introduced to this idea of a higher power and have come to a sense that you're in good hands. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you do, that's a nice posture that's a good posture to allow the operation to continue. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've watched you, Daz, too, as you've been watching us, and I feel like you're fine, bro. Everything, you got all you need, which is interest and willingness right now. That's basically it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Then there's a point where there's no need for interest, which is interesting. But right now, interest is cool.
Yeah.
And it'll lead to a no, which is being it, really. But
yeah. I'm happy with where I'm at the moment. Yeah, definitely.
You don't need interest in being it.
No.
Being it. Being it precludes interest in it. But I think every one of us here, and probably because I haven't thought about you as much as you do, everyone seems fine to me in a lot of ways. Like I see Norman here, Mike is always taking a nap. I mean, fuck. Obviously, these are the ways we found to dance with this message, and they're appropriate. Yeah, chilled out in a bunch of mattresses. I mean, comforters and pillows. That's more symbolic of a disarming than a call to arms. You know what I mean? No shoes on. Just, yeah. No. Yeah. And I feel, since I met you, I have a good feeling about you. So though, whatever that means. But I do. I feel it's not, see, there's nothing necessary. But here, starting from, let's say, that which comes after, interest and willingness is sort of is a key, like in recovery, willingness. And then more and more, those keys have done their job. Yeah, you don't need the keys anymore. And then you start having a sense that you really are what you've been looking for, not as what can be seen, but as what's seen. Yeah, you really you end in some conclusions. You do, and there is some being convinced. Like, done. It is. Things get clearer and clearer to the point there's no more clarification necessary. Yeah. What needed to get unestablished has been unestablished. There's no need to establish what already is established. Yeah. And so, yeah. And it's not this is just basically, all right, I would like on my tombstone, Paul lived with the horse in front of the cart. That's basically would be fine with a little ending. No big goals. Just at least get the little bit of, I can't say original mistake, but let's say the first little mishap corrected. Yeah, that's more than enough for me. I thought I wanted enlightenment and shit. I just wanted to have an easy comfort. Really, I wanted to be able to enjoy peace of mind. I wanted to be able, to be free to whatever the moment afforded, not be fucking occupied by past and future. You know what I mean? I just wanted some of the restraints removed. Yeah. And then all the belief that if these restraints are moved, you're going to go on a fucking murderous, rampage. None of that happened. Yeah. I was totally okay to be a free range fucking thing. I didn't have to be fucking, tied up with all these ideas and permissions and shit. Yeah, this is what happened. So you're in that process, and I'm so happy I have this relationship with you, bro, that you and I can share with each other and and pass on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dad. It's a pleasure to see you. It's like you never left. You've always been here, bro. Thanks.
Thanks for everything, Daz.
Yes.
And James in chat to me privately wants you to comment on something from A Course in Miracles. James, do you want to read it, or do you want me to go ahead and read it? Where are you?
Yeah, it'd probably be better if you all read it.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
From lesson 92. You also believe the body's brain can think. If you but understood the nature of thought, you could but laugh at this insane idea. It is as if you thought you held the match that lights the sun and gives it all its warmth, or that you held the world within your hand, securely bound until you let it go. Yet this is no more foolish than to believe the body's eyes can see, the brain can think. I hope I was unmuted. Yeah.
Yes. Well, to me, it's refuting the assumed relevance of the brain body. Yes. Yeah.
And I'll repost it in chat, actually, James, so other people can read it.
Yeah. So I don't have any opinion on it, just the way I heard it. It's just making how ridiculous the assumed relevance of what we're not to be. Yeah. Yeah. Or the same thing of, would you prepare to go to war with a non-existent foe? Yes. Yeah. But my non-existent ass is starting to hurt. In this non-existent chair. My non-existent cat is attacking some non-existent thing in the corner. So, all right, let's go to the next. Is that all right, James?
He put a thumbs up. Yeah.
Oh, all right, good. All right. This is an interesting name. DON and then NP7DF.
Yeah, it's me. It's Sean. It's something to do with my. I don't know why it's coming through like that.
Oh, our Scottish little friend. Yes.
Yeah. Hey. How's everyone doing? Yeah, how you doing, Paul?
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah, man. When I hear people, I mean, I've got maximum respect for what you say, and you intrigue me, and I really enjoy listening to you. But something in me thinks that after all your time of seeking, don't you think maybe that's had an effect on you, which like newbies aren't gonna get? You know, they've got to go through this process of. There's a perverted type of thinking which comes upon you, you know, and that's what I see the problem is. It's this distorted thinking that comes upon you that eventually ceases. So basically, I'm just asking, yeah, I don't know, man.
I like that one. That stream dried up really fast. You could see it was starting to hit the word "but," and then it dried up. The world starts from "but."
You got me there. No, I'm just curious. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. I don't know what you threw out, but yeah. About what happened to the action figure led to what's happening to the action figure now. Yeah.
Well, but so, okay, seeing what you're not, the thing that sees what you're not is the same problem.
No, well, the thing that sees what you're not is the same problem, but the seeing of what you're not isn't. That's why we're sharing. There isn't a what you're not that sees another what you're not. There's a seeing of what you're not being claimed by what you're not. It's different, yeah?
Yeah.
There's a what you're not that suddenly becomes objectified, and then by seeing it, then what you're not, that mental process, yes,
Yeah,
claims that seeing, which is the subjectiveness, and makes it an object again. So now what you're not says it saw what it's not. It's not true. That's the point. That's how you catch the thief and the policeman. They change uniforms, yes? But it's the
Yeah.
same. Yeah. So in this case, what you're not is the thief, and then there's what you're not as the policeman seeing it, yeah? But what's seeing it is what's seeing, yeah? The activity of selfing claims to be the seer of what you're not. That's why we get fooled. The second one takes the role of being the real me, and the observed one now becomes not me. Yeah? This is how the system sustains itself. Yeah? Obviously, sooner or later, seeing is going to see what it's not. So how the system hides that is by claiming to be the seeing of what it's not. Yeah? And most of us, we get stuck. So we think, oh, I saw the enemy, and then and it was not me, but it is me. That which has been claimed, that which claimed to be the seeing of the enemy is the enemy in a sense. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's why we're sharing this, so that you recognize it. And these are the warnings. So if you have the warnings, the seeing can, because the seeing's there. The seeing is there. What happens in time, the seeing gets interpreted into something else, yeah? Which is what you're not. So the seeing is not of time, but in time, the seeing gets interpreted as what you're not. So just to have the clarification, by giving warnings, you'll recognize it. So you'll see you're not the thief, and you're not the policeman that caught the thief. And this little burlesque little routine in America, like old comedy, that little burlesque team, you'll see through it. And so when it does it, you won't fall for it. You'll just be the seeing. So you'll catch it, you'll catch it, you'll catch it. And then you realize it's always going to do that mechanical move. Wherever I am seeing, it's going to claim to be the seer. All right, now I'm clear, yeah?
So that open, empty seeing, that's also the policeman.
No, the seeing is just seeing. So it sees the self, it sees what you're not. It sees there's an assumption of being something, and you finally see through it. But that's immediately claimed by what you're not, yeah? The mental state immediately tags that as you. Just like it tagged as, it had the one story of you tagged, then you see through that one story, so it just moves the tag to the next story, which is, I saw the story of Paul. That's another story, yes? That's all. It's like you catch the thief. See, the catching isn't the thief nor the policeman, it's both. You catch the thief and policeman routine. It's a routine. Thief, policeman, yes, on and on, yes?
So okay. So the open, empty seeing, okay? That is
Yes.
partially connected to the thief and the policeman.
Well, of course, if that seeing is all there is, then it's appearing as the police but the appearance is an imagery. There's no thief or policeman.
No.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No. It's just all there is the seeing through the appearances. So the same, we're using imagery, but let's say the same person is in the thief wardrobe, the thief outfit, is in the policeman outfit. So you recognize you're neither of those, yeah? So you are the seeing, but you're not that which is claiming to be the seer, yeah? The seeing is what we are, that's there, but the seer is in dispute, that's all. So now your life is more based on the seeing than based on the seer or seen, yeah? And maybe the way you experience or travel through this life will be different when it's based on the seeing instead of the seer or the seen, yeah? You see the seer or seen, here's the seer. Then that seer is seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you catch what you're not. But then suddenly, yeah, the seer and seen, this now becomes the seer. Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
it goes on and so the duality keeps happening. But that doesn't mean it's you. See, you're the seen. It's not seeing, not seeing, seeing, not seeing. There's awareness. Yes, that's that.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Then there's an appearance in awareness. Yeah. And then that appearance, which was just assumed to be the starting point in your little dream world, the camera of awareness has moved back, so to speak, and then you see, hey, I'm not that. But that moment of seeing you're not that, the next moment, the mental state claims to be the seer of that. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So
Okay.
you're now playing now you're identified as the policeman and you caught the thief. Yeah. But now you have a beat that you have to constantly be looking for the thief, and you don't realize the policeman and the thief are the same thing. They're both occupying a lot of interest and attention. So then you catch it a few times and maybe it's done. You don't need to catch it anymore. You've seen through it. When you see the thief, you see the policeman. When you see the policeman, you see the thief.
Okay, man. Thank
Yeah?
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's clear. Thanks so much.
All right. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you. Thank you.
Travis, you want to go ahead?
Yeah. Hey, Paul. Can you hear me?
Hey. Yes. Let me find you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was interesting. That last conversation. That really was almost the exact experience here. There was a lot of meditation going on and a lot of self-inquiry, just things that I thought were necessary at the time. And yeah, there was kind of that catching on that the thoughts and what I thought about myself, that wasn't the me, that wasn't who I was. And then immediately it's like you said, sometimes it's just a story, but I refer to it as like that spiritual ego, like sneaks in the back door, and it's like, oh, you saw what you're not, and then that was trying to claim what it saw. And so it was really interesting. I sort of, in a sense, I had to keep going back to that first seeing through, that it just was empty, that there just wasn't anybody there. It was just thoughts arising and feelings, and it was trying to claim that was an individual that was experiencing that. So that was pretty interesting. That was about 1.5 years ago, but it still seems to, like you were saying, it seems to still be there from different time to time, to try to claim it, but it's not believed in anymore. I just see what's happening, and I see that story is trying to come in and create, mischief or incorrect thought about what's apparently happening, and it's just not really believed in anymore. So it's just not taken serious.
Great. Yeah.
But yeah, it's an endless. It's like you were saying, it's not something that well, I've heard it said before, is you kind of always carry your own prison around with you, but at the same time, when it's not believed in, it just doesn't seem to cause that havoc. You don't buy into that story anymore, so to speak.
Yes. And traveling lighter. Yes.
Right. Yeah, that's really interesting.
That's what we're sharing. Yes. Let's yeah.
I forgot what you said, but you mentioned something earlier that was really good. It was like, I'm trying to remember what you said. I should have wrote it down. It was something like yeah, it was something like, what you saw, what you see isn't really right. Yeah, it's recorded good.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's a good thing. You may not, I may have already passed away and you wouldn't know it. These are all this box I'm in is from 2018.
Right, right. Yeah, I was gonna also mention the, like, because I've been in the military for 18 years, and there's always that story that wants to, I got 2 more years and I'm trying to just stick it out, and somebody will ask me to do something, and that story gets made up like, oh man, I don't want to do that, and oh, that's so much work. And then I try to just laugh it off, and it's like, there's nothing to do about it. It's just what's happening. And I still get caught up in it from time to time, but it really is. It's like, it's just that laughable moment where you're like, oh man.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
winning because there's nothing to do. It's just what happens.
Yeah, it's nice when you've been in a supposed dramatic docu story, and then you see it as a comedy. it's good. The material's the exact same. It's the audience's response. Yeah. You think it's like those movies. They made them to be, and they thought it was serious, but they're so funny. It's laugh out loud. Like it's so dumb. They thought they were making a serious movie, and yet the people in the theater are laughing. This is how dare you laugh at my life? But hopefully, if this has happened to you, like in recovery, we have it a lot. Recovery, I mean, we laugh at a lot of shit, but we weren't laughing when it actually was happening. But now, because we've been removed from it, we can laugh the hell out of it. Well, that can happen like in every second. Yeah. You can be removed from it.
Yeah,
Hey,
absolutely.
I think I'm going to end on this. You, Travis, you're the last one today.
Okay.
Thanks, Travis, for the laughable moment.
Travis.
Yeah, I snuck in there.
First shall be last, last shall be first. It's you, Travis. All right, so no,
Thank you,
unless
Paul.
there's a burning desire, unless there's someone wants to say. No.
David, why did you have Tommy on there? Is there somebody that wants to talk?
No, talk about Tommy Wiseau.
Huh?
Tommy, what? Yeah, sure. One more if you want.
No.
Oh, no. All right, great.
Film reference, sorry.
All right, great. So let me just say goodbye to everybody. And I think people stay on it. Mike, do you stay on it with your lost son there, Nick? Yeah. I can. Yeah. Semblance is getting stronger and stronger. Yeah.
Hey Paul, so, I got a suggestion for a prop for Satsang. Get you a blowhorn or whatever, a loud noise thing, so that whenever somebody says "but," you can shout them out.
That's true. Yes.
It should shorten Satsang a lot.
Like a buzzer or something.
Yeah.
You get a keyboard with sound effects like the gong show.
We'll get that for next time.
What's that thing with the long thing you pull the person off the stage? Get pulled out of the square. Hey, listen, I want to say thanks, and yes, everyone keep donating, keep my lavish lifestyle going. It's good to see you, Noah. Glenda, very nice. I love quiet Irish people. Silent. Irish, very good. Christine, nice to see you. Johans, very nice to see you. Where are you, Johans? You know? He doesn't know.
Germany.
Johan. Where are you, Johans?
Germany.
Germany, nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love it.
All right, great. Thank you. We got Mike again. Pleasure to see you, Mike. Thank you for your donations. Daz, fantastic. Nor, we got Sharon. Thank you for everything, Sharon. Yeah, we'll have to have you over in the backyard sooner or later if you want to. Yes. Mike's the key to the kingdom. We got Barbara and Roman from Germany. Nice to see you guys. Thanks so much for the support. Dennis, fantastic. Yariv, nice to see you. Bill and Marie, nice to see you there. Hope we get together sometime soon. We got Pamela, nice to see you, Pamela. Judith, very nice. We got Richard. How are you? Ben Clark is out cold again. That's good. Lights are out for Ben. Z, always a pleasure, Z. Jeff, my recovered surfer friend. Got the right hat on. You're looking chilled. Yeah, you got your board shorts. Everything's going well. We got, I always get this wrong, Sukaya Macaulay. I know Macaulay. Nice to see you. It's just the letters are too small. Avahanj, I missed that. There's my friend Vlad, my friend. Stay in touch, Vlad. Richard's over here too. James, Sean from Scotland, all those folks. We got my friend Alan. For some reason, Alan, I feel, yeah, simpatico with you. That's good. Arbor, nice to see you. I think that's your name, right, Arbor? No? Something. Andy, Arbor, yeah. Travis, nice to hear from you, Travis. Keep traveling well. Get that. We got Keith, my main man, Richard and Etta, my friends from London. One of my my European handlers, Richard. Yes. Don't let him ever pick you up from the airport. He gets lost easily. He loses his car. There's Luca. Luca escaped. He's transcended the square. We got Norman. Nice to see you, Norman. Andre, nice to see you there. We got all the same. There she is, Sue. Nice to see you, Sue. Celia, fantastic. Fritz, Paul, Ricardo, Celia. You're duplicating. Sue, you're duplicating like an amoeba. There's all the squares. Got Sue Kimpton in it. We got Luke. I'm going to see you. Oh, no, that's Luis Ramos. We got Fritz. He's got a new backdrop. You're not in Italy, are you, Fritz? Yeah. No. Well, I really appreciate this opportunity, Ricardo, Paul R., everyone else. Can't see Nancy and other names.
All right.
Weird.
Come on.
I really appreciate this opportunity. And we have these talks Wednesdays and Saturdays, and then recovery meetings we have Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that's all the information and the links are right on the website, zenbishslap.com. Hit in there, and yeah, if you trip on the donate button, that means you're meant to donate. So fucking see you guys. Adios. Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Gracias.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
So,